Have you ever wondered how billionaires can pay less tax than their employees and do it 100% legally? Today, we're going behind the curtain to reveal the tax strategies the rich use. These aren't tricks, but the playbook that's hidden in plain sight. Welcome back to Voice on Pages, and let's find out about how the wealthy legally avoid paying taxes. Okay, so let's start with the single most important distinction in the entire world of taxes. On one side, you've got tax avoidance. That's totally legal. It's just using the rules to your advantage. And on the other side, you've got tax evasion. That's illegal. That's lying, hiding income, deceiving the IRS. Everything we're talking about today, it's all happening firmly in that first legal column.
You see, the wealthy aren't really cheating the system. They're just playing the game by the rulebook the government itself wrote. And that rulebook is specifically designed to reward certain behaviors. The government wants people to invest, to buy property, to create jobs, and to give to charity. So it literally creates tax incentives to encourage people to do exactly that.
So, how exactly do they use these rules? Well, that brings us to the first big lever in their playbook: aggressively shrinking the amount of income that the government can even tax in the first place.
So how do they pull that off? It's mainly through two things: super aggressive deductions and leveraging their biggest assets. Think about it this way. Every single dollar that can be classified as a business expense or an investment cost is a dollar the government can't touch as income. Real estate, in particular, is a massive tax haven, and one of the most powerful tools out there is something called the 1031 exchange. This lets an investor sell a property, take all the profit, and roll it into a new, similar property and legally pay zero capital gains tax at that moment. And you can do this again, and again, and again, pushing off that tax bill for decades while your wealth just keeps on growing. And it doesn't stop there. Oh no! Real estate investors also get to deduct something called depreciation, which is the theoretical wear and tear on a building. Now here's the wild part. They can claim this loss on paper even while the property is actually going up in value. It's incredible. Add in the deductions from mortgage interest, and you've got yourself a seriously powerful tax shield. All right, the next lever in the playbook is maybe even more important. It's not just about how much you make. It's about making sure the income you do get is taxed at the lowest possible rate. Because you gotta understand, in the eyes of the government, not all money is created equal. Just look at this. It's pretty dramatic, right? This is the difference in how the government taxes money from a paycheck versus money from an investment. Your salary, or ordinary income, can get taxed as high as 37%. But long-term capital gains, that's profit from selling an asset you've held for more than a year, that's taxed way, way lower, maxing out at just 20%.
So the crucial point, the whole game really, is that the wealthy work to convert their earnings from that high tax bucket on the left into the low tax bucket on the right. I mean, why would you take $1 million salary when you could take $1 million in stock, hold it for a year, and end up paying nearly half the tax? It's a no-brainer. Another huge strategy is just deferral. It's simply kicking the can down the road. You're just pushing off paying your taxes until a later date, usually when you're in a much lower tax bracket. For executives, this might be a deferred compensation plan that pays out after they retire. For the rest of us, it's tools we all know, like 401ks and IRAs. And this brings us right to the third major lever: using legal structures as both a shield and a tool. Because when it comes to taxes, it's not just about what you own, but how you own it.
Picking the right business structure is kind of like choosing the right tool for a specific job. An S-corp, for example, lets profits pass right through to the owner, so you avoid getting taxed twice. A C-corp, on the other hand, has a flat 21% tax rate, which can be a lot lower than personal income tax rates. Each choice has its own clear tax advantage.
Charitable giving is another incredibly powerful structure. By setting up things like private foundations or donor-advised funds, the wealthy can get these massive, immediate tax deductions for their contributions, all while still having a lot of control over how that money is managed and given out over time. So, you're probably wondering, why does the government allow all this? Are these just mistakes or oversights in the tax code? Not at all. As we talked about earlier, this is a system of rewards by design.
You have to understand, the tax code is a set of incentives. The government is literally using tax breaks as rewards to encourage the kind of behavior it wants to see in the economy. So when they offer tax credits for R&D or for investing in green energy, they're not making a mistake. They're steering investment with policy. These aren't loopholes, they are the intended purpose of the system.
Okay, but this raises a huge question, doesn't it? Is a system that so clearly benefits the wealthy actually fair?
Or does it just reward the people who understand the rules of the game? Let's put this whole debate into context. The real conflict is right here. Are these rules an unfair advantage for people who already have capital? Or are they a fair reward for financial knowledge and taking risks that, you could argue, benefit the whole economy?
A White House analysis found a pretty stunning gap between the tax rates of the ultra-wealthy and the average person. I mean, check this out. While a typical taxpayer might pay around 13% or more, the 400 wealthiest families in the U.S. paid an average federal income tax rate of just 8.2%.
The arguments on both sides are, deeply rooted in totally different economic philosophies. People who want reform will point to rising inequality, or the fact that the IRS actually audits low-income earners more often than millionaires. On the other hand, supporters of the current system say these incentives are absolutely crucial for encouraging investment and creating jobs. There are really no easy answers here.
So, what does this playbook mean for you? Well, the good news is that the core principles, they can be applied by anyone, even if you're working on a much smaller scale.
Look, you might not be buying a yacht and writing it off. I get that. But you can absolutely apply the same core strategies. Maxing out your 401k or IRA, that's tax deferral. Using a health savings account or an HSA, that's a triple tax advantage tool. And hey, even starting a small side business can unlock a whole new world of legitimate business expense deductions.
Now, to stay safe and on the right side of the law, it is absolutely vital that you document everything meticulously. Keep your business and personal money completely separate and make sure your deductions are reasonable. The goal here is to avoid any red flags that might get you audited.
And really, what truly separates the wealthy from everyone else isn't some secret handshake or hidden code. It's just a systematic approach. Yeah, they have teams of advisors, but the underlying principles, deferral, deductions, strategic structuring, they're accessible to anyone who's willing to learn.
Taxes aren't just about numbers. They're about rules. The wealthy don't avoid taxes by accident. They follow the rules better than anyone else. And the truth is, many of these strategies are available to you too. The difference is knowledge, timing, and consistency. Start small, stay compliant, and think like an investor, not just a worker. The system is complicated, but if you understand the playbook, you can stop overpaying and start building real wealth.